My next question, Stan, is about the women, because obviously that's the reason why they started to employ the women, is because the men were off at war.
They were virtually called up.
Tell us how that happened then, Stan, if you don't mind. When did they arrive? Did you see them arrive or what?
They were there almost from the beginning when I was there. They were given sort of more straightforward jobs in my line, which was wiring the powerboats. They were given the more straightforward work. They didn't get employed in the engine room connecting up all the engines. We had two male full-time electricians. One would take the forward part of the boat and one would take the engine room, and that's how it went on from boat to boat, because each knew the job before they started it. You picked up the drawing, the diagrams from a stores, and when you finished a job you would take it back. But yeah, the women worked in very well. They were good. And one funny thing was that on the boats, as you progress from boat to boat, there was one person that had a very good singing voice, a man, and all the women used to like to get on the boat that he was on, because he used to sing the songs of that time, you know, and we liked it as well. It helped the job along, you know, made people
feel better. It was a very friendly atmosphere.
Yes,
it sounds like.
They had the music while you work, which was about an hour after 11 o'clock, something like that. But that was just one of the things. But the women worked in okay, as far as I could make out.
They didn't do the more complicated jobs, but they worked on all the range of craft, did they? The motor boats as well as the motor torpedo boats? Did they?
Oh yes, they were part of the electrical group, like the gang.
Yes.
I was part of.
Yes.
And that would go from one boat to the next, whether it was an RAF rescue launch or a torpedo.
Oh, I see. That's how they organised the workshop. So you were attached to a gang.
That's it.
And that gang would do the same job on each boat and work around the. I've got you.
That's
and. So the women, did you have much contact with them in the sense they lived at the Priory? That's where they were billeted and trained, is it?
They trained at the Priory, but they lived at Langdane House, which was a big manor house, where the overlooking the council estate at Hythe.
Yeah.
It had all that land there. It's a massive place.
Is it there now? Still there?
No, that's gone.
It's gone. It's housing estate.
The entrance into the estate at the top of the hill was still there, but the two stone pillars and the wrought iron gates, they've all gone.
And they came to work, the ladies, by bus, did they?
They could actually walk.
Stan, I've heard this story about how some of the apprentices were invited along to the women workers' Christmas party. Have you heard this story before?
Oh, it does ring a bell.
Yeah, were you ever invited along to one party? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We knew there was one going on, and a friend of mine said he was going to go. Would you like to come? So I said, yes, I'll come. So we wandered in the gateway and then walked up the drive and into the door of this big house. And these women were all in there dancing around and bouncing balloons up in the air, and we thought it was wonderful. Then we looked down because one had deflated, and we realised it wasn't a balloon at all.
Right, and did you enjoy the party? Did you enjoy the party?
I wasn't old enough to really enjoy it.
And then I understand that the women actually went out onto the boats sometimes with the men working on the boats, and sometimes got caught in compromising positions.
Well,
do you know a story like that?
There was only one occasion when the electrician I was working with on a 41'6" tender, as it was called, there was a tiny chain locker right in the bows with a door into it, and he finally got in there with one of the women workers, and she just had room to sit on his lap. And while he was in there, on came the foreman. He said, "Where's Ken?" I said, "He's just gone off to the loo." "Oh, all right." And he waited and waited and waited. Of course, they couldn't come out. And about a good half an hour went by, and in the end, he snapped off in an anger and said, "I can't wait any more," he said. and they tumbled out all out of breath, you know.
I understand. That never happened to you, did it? So
No.
nothing never happened like that. Everybody who sees this video will agree with me that it's been an absolute privilege to meet you and for you to be willing enough to share your reminiscences with us. And I'm sure for generations in the future we'll be able to benefit from the few kind words you've given us today. Thank you very much, Stan. Cheers.
Well, I'm pleased to see you both. I think it's good that someone like yourself is cataloguing all this. Otherwise, it's funny how it can all disappear in thin air otherwise.
Thank you very much for saying so, Stan. Thank you.
Thank you.